a friend here. We're gonna do some math with you guys. Worksheet 87. Just wanted to throw that song out there. If you guys can tell me who sings that song or what that song is. It's by a famous band from the 70s, maybe even 60s too. And I'll give you some PBS points if you, I guess, come tell me in person. Maybe the first two people, or even leave a comment and tell me who it was. All right, going to our math here. We're gonna do composite shapes, right? We're trying to find the area of these composite shapes, and we have some tools that we have because we know that the area of a triangle is, or let's do a rectangle first, sorry. Just base times height, also known as length times width, right? So, I'll put, or LW. So that's what a rectangle would be, right? Look at, I'll even put a little square over here. Now, if I have a triangle, we know our area is the same thing with a little tweak, right? So it's just area equals base times height, but the only difference is I'm dividing that number by 2. Because we discovered earlier in class that if you take a triangle and you flip another one, it's basically a parallelogram, right? And then our last formula that we've learned thus far is that of a trapezoid. Let's see if I have one here. I don't have a shape here. Maybe I'll get one for you guys. One sec. So here he is. And a trapezoid, our formula is area. I can make up capital. There you go. Area equals base 1 plus base 2, right? And that's in parentheses. And then we're multiplying the height. And then we're taking all of that and we're dividing it by 2, right? Once we figure all that out, it's divided by 2. So those are the 3 formulas that we're going to be using for this. I wish I would have made more room. And I'm going to move this guy out of here. All right, so that you guys can see this a little bit better. So that's the formula that we're going to be using to solve these equations. And what we're going to do is just, I always like going for the rectangle first, or turning something into a rectangle, just because it makes it easy for me to, it's like the rectangle's the easiest formula, right? Isn't it just base times height? So what I would do on this first one is I'm going to take this line right here and just turn it into a rectangle. Or a square, whatever you want to call this up here. So now I have 2 shapes that I'm familiar with. I can figure out the areas of both these. So if I have, this is going at 5.5, right? This distance right here. And if this whole thing is 10, that means 10 minus 5.5 is the rest of this little spot right here, right? For my triangle. Because I know 5.5, it goes up here. So if I were to keep going all the way over here, I would have 10, wouldn't I? If I went all the way here, which I'm not doing. But, so I know that 10 minus 5.5 is going to give me whatever's left over on this side. And I know that's like the trickiest part on this. So let's say 10 minus 5.5. And what would I get when I do that? Well, you would line up your decimal, right? So then it's basically 10.0. Whoa, sorry guys. All right, there we go. And then when I subtract that, for those of you that weren't able to figure that out in your head, I need to borrow, right? I can't borrow from him, so I'm going to borrow from this guy. This becomes 10. I'm going to borrow, and it becomes 9 right here, right? I'm sorry, let me see here. I'm going to borrow from him. He becomes 9. And he becomes 10 over here. And I know, sorry, this is like messy. Doing the best I can, guys. And 10 minus 5 is 5. And 9 minus 5 is 4. I bring my decimal straight down. So I know that 4.5 is what is on this side right here. Okay. And basically, I know that 5.5 plus 4.5 is this whole side right here. Because we know if 5.5 is here, that means this is 5.5 also, right? And then the rest would be 4.5, and we know that because it equals 10. So that's like one way to figure it out. I could put 5.5 here. just so I know. And then if I'm going to do my base times height now, I have my base right here, 5.5, and my height is 8, right? So that's going to be this box in here. I wonder if I can shade them in. Let's see here. If I make them orange. Yeah, kind of. A little sloppy, but it worked. So 5.5 times 8 is going to give me my answer to that area. And then I know that this side right here is 4.5, and my height is still 8 because this is 8, which means this is 8, right? On our rectangles. So that means 4.5 times that divided by 2 is going to give me my next answer. So let me move some of this stuff over. And I know this is confusing and I'm taking way too long on one question. I'm just trying to explain it as I'm going. All right, so I'm going to do 5.5 times 8 to figure out that first equation, or the first area. So 8 times 5 is 40. I bring my 4 over here. 8 times 5 is 40. That means I get 44, right? And then I have one number, so that means one number to the right of my decimal. That means I need to have one number to the right of this decimal. So my answer is 44. So I would put in here 44. That's what this is, 44 units, or unit squared. And then my next one is for my triangle. So again, I'm going to use this formula, A equals, I'm going to circle it for you guys. A equals base times height divided by 2. So my base is 4.5. My height is 8, right? Because across from this is 8. These numbers can go across from each other. So that means 4.5 times 8 is going to be my answer for that area after I divide it by 2. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 is 36. And again, we have one decimal, so I need to have one decimal here. Okay, so that means that this is 36, except that I need to divide it by 2 because this is a triangle's area, right? So 36, oops, divided by 2. You know, I should have really left some more space here. And that's going to equal 18, right? So we're not done yet, because, which is why most people don't like these. So I have 18 squared units here and 44 squared units here, so I need to add those two numbers together. So I have 44 plus 18, and then I'll have my answer. All right, so that's how you do number R. Well, I guess I can give it to you all the way through. 44 plus 18. You know, I am not proud of how this question came out. I'll see if I can do the next one a little easier for you guys, or easier to follow at least. So 4 plus 8 is 12. 1 plus 1 plus 4 is 6. So that's my answer, 62 units squared. Level 2, right? All right. That's our answer for this first one, R. All right, let's take a look at N. Hopefully this one makes more sense. So this one, we could already see a triangle here, can't we? And it already has the info we need, which again, our formula for a triangle is A equals base times height divided by 2. So my base, remember, it's the bottom number here, it's 4. My height is the dash number here, which is 7. So that means if area equals, let me see here, if my area equals base times height, all divided by 2, then if I fill in those gaps, or those numbers with my info, that means this equals 4 times 7, right? Times 7, all divided by 2. And that just equals 28 divided by 2, right? Which equals, I know, it's a lot of writing here. It's easier for you guys. You guys are using pencils. 28 divided by 2 is 14, right? 14 plus 14 equals 28. So then I know that this box in here, Let me paint them, whoops, orange is 14. Okay, this whole little box, or this triangle, I'm sorry. Now, we also know a few things. Now this shape right here, that's trapezoid, right? So if I do base 1 plus base 2, and then times my height divided by 2, I'll have the area of a trapezoid. So let me see here. So my height is going to be, or my base is right here, right? This is my first base, this is my second base, and then my height is how tall it is. So I have 7 plus 12. And let me see if, actually I'll just copy it. I didn't want to rewrite it because it's kind of hard on the computer. Okay, so I'm going to take this formula and then fill in those gaps, right? So instead of base 1, I'm going to put 7. So over here, I will put 7. And instead of base 2, I'm going to put 12. That's how long this side is. And instead of my height, I'm going to fill it in, which is 6. So then this turns into 7 plus 12 is 19 times 6, right? So 19 times 6 divided by 2. So if I do 19 times 6, I would actually get 114. And I'm going to divide that by 2. Right? I'm still dividing by 2, which means I would get 57, right? So I'm not quite done because again, I need my area of this trapezoid and this triangle now are 14 plus 57. So I need to add those together. 14 plus 57, and I should get 71 units squared. So that's my answer for n. I know it's a lot of work, guys, and it's confusing, but you have to go back to these formulas and find shapes that we can make in here. All right, last one I'm going to do is I see rectangles here, right? And I said always try to make the rectangles first. So I can do this rectangle, right? There's 1, there's 2, and now there's just 3 different shapes I need to do, all with this formula right here, right? They're all just going to use area equals base times height, which is our easiest formula. So that's why I always try to switch it to rectangles, because it's a lot easier to figure out the formula for a rectangle. So I know my rectangle, the side isn't just 4, right? Let's do the small ones first. So I have 4 for this side right here, and 2 going up and down, right? Which means if this is 4, that means this is 4, right? Which means if this is 4, that means this is 4, this side right here. So that's something we need to remember when we're messing with these shapes, especially rectangles and squares. So if I have 4 here, 4 here, that means 2 times 4 is going to be 8, which is my area of this little rectangle. And it's the same thing here. 4 times 2 equals 8. So that's it. My 2 little triangles, or I'm sorry, little rectangles are finished already. So now I have to do this long one. And I know it's not just 4, right? Because I have 2 plus 4 plus 2 to get this side. So 2 plus 4 plus 2 equals 8, right? So this whole side is 8. Let me put that in green. All right, I'm going to put a green line to see what line I'm talking about. So this whole line right here is 8 units long. Okay, so that's 8. Because I had 2 just for this little side right here, and then 4 for this side, and then another 2. So now I know that it's 8 times 4, because this is my length right here. So 8 times 4 equals 32. So add it together.